As I was getting ready to come up here, somebody mentioned to me, don't try to be charming or witty, just be yourself. So I'm trying to process that as I go through this talk. So if I'm a little distracted, I apologize. So thank you, Sue. I would also like to thank the members of the committee for their service. The Hubbard Committee, as you can see from the talk prior to me, it's really a tough job to find one winner out of the myriad of applicants that we get. So I want to thank, again, the committee for their work and to provide us the person who we will honor today as the Hubbard Award winner on behalf of the committee. The recognition of outstanding contributions to evaluation in medicine, I am pleased to announce that the recipient of the 2009 Hubbard Award is Dr. William McGaghie. Dr. William McGaghie, or Bill, is professor of medical education and preventive medicine at Northwestern University Feinberg School of Medicine. He's recognized internationally as a respected scholar and has contributed greatly to the development and implementation of rigorous assessment and evaluation sciences and is truly deserving of this Hubbard Award. His research began nearly 40 years ago when he asserted that rigorous educational measurement is the cornerstone of competency-based education, an idea that has been reborn recently in the language of entrustable professional activities for our medical students and evaluation milestones for postgraduate residents. Quoting from the letter submitted in connection with Dr. McGaghie's nomination for the 2018 Hubbard Award, the nominator noted that Dr. McGaghie has evolved to include mastery learning in medical education, which cannot be done without rigorous and reliable learner evaluation. Reliable learner evaluation is essential in mastery learning for three reasons. One, to establish an achievement baseline and to give learners focused feedback, i.e. evaluation of their learning. Two, to gauge learner readiness for advancement in the curriculum. And three, to provide outcomes research and program information. Asked to comment on Dr. McGaghie's body of work, a prior recipient of the Hubbard Award said the following: Bill has an impeachable record of sustained scholarship with almost 200 peer-reviewed publications. Bill's superlative productivity is matched only by the quality of these numerous publications. Fluff and William C. McGaghie are two terms that do not go together. Similarly, he has an exemplary history of grant funding, of which we're all envious, both as principal investigator and as co-investigator and team member. He regularly presents at national and international venues for invited rounds and workshops. He is highly visible at national and international medical education conferences and reviews tirelessly for the major journals in health education. One domain of assessment that is almost Bill's signature is the effective use of simulation technologies to assess complex performance outcomes. He has a long list of publications that advance this area, dating back from the 1980s. He was in grade school when he did those. Bill has built numerous collaborations to examine the issues around the pragmatics and the psychometrics of simulation-based assessment. He has also kept this research current with the continued advances in the simulation technologies. So before I introduce Dr. McGaghie, I want to close my remarks by again quoting one of his colleagues. I think Bill is a perfect fit for the Hubbard Award. He has that perfect mixture of assessment experience, intellectual rigor, educational acumen, and professional dedication to the betterment of the field that characterizes many of the prior awardees. Bill McGaghie is a tremendous resource to the assessment and medical education community. Receiving the Hubbard Award would be a capstone for his career and a validation of the purpose and standards of the Hubbard Award. So please join me in congratulating Dr. McGaghie, and I'd like to invite him to come up to the podium and receive his certificate.
Thank you, Dr. Anderson, for such a gracious introduction. It's truly a privilege for me to receive the 2019 John P. Hubbard Award from the National Board of Medical Examiners. I'm humbled by the experience. Those of us who work in the field of medical education with an emphasis on personnel and program evaluation recognize the honor that comes from receiving this coveted prize. I'm grateful to the National Board and the Selection Committee, and especially to my employer, the Northwestern University Feinberg School of Medicine, for the opportunity to be present at this moment. I'm also grateful to my family, my wife Pamela, adult children Michael and Kathleen, and granddaughters Abby, Charlotte, and Madeline. By the way, my granddaughters call me Grumps, for all their professional and personal support. The McGaghie family has all hands on deck. Now, about 45 years ago, in the mid-1970s, at the University of Illinois College of Medicine in Chicago, one of my early mentors, George Miller, who, as we just saw, was the second recipient of the Hubbard Award, took me aside to offer some really avuncular advice. George told me without hesitation, he said, "Bill, the most powerful force in medical education today is inertia." The author of that classic book, Teaching and Learning in Medical School, published by the Harvard University Press in 1961, may have been right at the time, but we sure have come a long way. Sure, in medical education today, we still rely far too much on a signature pedagogy, Osler's natural method of teaching, clinical experience alone, patients are the curriculum, that was described in a speech Osler delivered to the New York Academy of Medicine in 1903, 116 years ago. The speech is published as a chapter titled "The Hospital as a College" in Osler's 1932 book, Aquinnamatus. Teaching inertia is still very powerful, but advances in problem-based learning, team-based learning, and especially medical simulation technology that incorporates mastery learning standards has really advanced. Osler's thinking and work were great for the 19th century, but we need to keep moving forward with new education and teaching models in the 21st century. By contrast, the story over the past 45 years is very different when it comes to the evaluation methods we now use to assess medical people and medical programs. Beyond high-quality multiple-choice examinations, which have been the National Board's mainstay for decades, today's evaluation technologies include OSCEs, standardized patients, mannequins, simulations, haptic sensors, team-based exercises, workplace-based assessments, and measures of clinical reasoning that allow us to probe the fitness of physicians and other healthcare providers in ways that George Miller would never have imagined. These and other evaluation technologies allow us to collect reliable data about doctors in training and practice for two key reasons. First, to provide actionable feedback about how to improve, using evaluation data as a tool to become a better doctor. not as a weapon to expose incompetence or to humiliate doctors in training or in practice. And second, to certify the readiness of doctors in training and practice to care for patients and advance the public health. These are lofty goals. They're worthy of time, attention, money, and research. I believe that the late George Miller would be very pleased about the medical evaluation advances that have been made over the past 4 decades. I also want to highlight some of the dramatic advances that have been made recently in the realm of educational program evaluation, especially as we understand medical education research as translational science. Several medical education research teams at Northwestern and other medical centers have published studies that show powerful clinical education interventions featuring mastery learning and rigorous evaluations not only produce strong effects in simulation laboratory settings, but also as measurable downstream effects, such as better patient care practices and, yes, better patient outcomes. Medical education research at Northwestern and elsewhere has shown that powerful education interventions coupled with rigorous assessments and tight experimental designs have reduced central line associated bloodstream infections in the ICU by 85%. Improve communication skills among medical students and residents when breaking bad news to patients and their families. Improve the quality of ACLS care delivered by in-hospital code response teams. Reduce birth complications in the maternity suite, and several other outcomes. These are not trivial results. Such clinical outcomes derive from potent education interventions, rigorous assessments in education and clinical settings, and medical education research programs that are thematic, sustained, and cumulative. I should also mention that investments in new and powerful medical education pay off financially. Several Northwestern studies on skill acquisition of clinical procedures, led by Jeffrey Barsick and his education and evaluation research team, show that potent medical education interventions, coupled with tight research designs and rigorous personnel evaluations, yield a 7-to-1 return on investment. These are key results that begin to link measured medical education outcomes with what we call fiscal fitness. In sum, the bottom line of this message deserves repeating. Quite simply, it is that powerful education interventions coupled with rigorous physician assessments can lead to healthcare quality improvement, return on financial investment, and better patient outcomes. I also want to point out that Bill McGaghie is not alone in accepting this 2019 Hubbard Award. We all know that in education, research, and scholarship, no one works alone anymore. Medical education, research, and scholarship is clearly a team sport. I am blessed to work with a large team of Northwestern clinicians, educators, and scientists that not only produce a hothouse intellectual environment, but also have achieved worldwide recognition. Jeffrey Barsick, Diane Wayne, Kenzie Cameron, Elaine Cohen, David Salzman, Mary McBride, Walter Epic, Mark Adler, Joe Feinglass, Julie Vermeilen, Gordon Wood, Eric Hungness, Ashish Didwania, and June Robbins are only a small sample of the persons who make up this functionally diverse and productive group. So in closing, I'm pleased to accept the 2019 John P. Hubbard Award on behalf of Team Northwestern, and in thanks for the many mentors, all now gone, who have prepared an academic path for me in several university settings. George Miller, Merrill Flair, Claude Mathis, Robert Menges, Donald Campbell. We all stand on the shoulders of giants. Now, I plan to continue this medical education and assessment journey with the Northwestern team and hope that colleagues at the National Board and other medical education settings will choose to join in. So thanks to all of you.